All right, thank you for joining us, Kathee and Steve Weisenberg. Could you guys please introduce yourselves and tell us how you guys are affiliated with the Point Loma High School tennis team?
Hi, my name's Kathee Weisenberg.
And I'm Steve Weisenberg.
And we've had 3 children at Point Loma High, and our last one, Sammy, is was last year a member of the varsity tennis team.
We're hoping he tryouts are like next week, so
Yeah.
We're hoping he makes JV again at least. So
Yeah.
We'll see.
Are you listening, Tim? No, I'm just joking. Wonderful. Can you guys maybe tell us a little bit about, are you guys members at Peninsula Tennis Club?
We are. We
Yes.
joined when Sammy made the team because it's the home courts for Point Loma High School. And we've both pretty much played tennis all our lives, but we weren't members anywhere. So we joined Peninsula, and we actually just renewed our membership yesterday.
Awesome. Yay. Now I wanted to share with you guys, and you probably aware of this, but half of our courts, it's being proposed by the Pickleball organization to take over half of our courts and turn them into pickleball courts. Can you tell me what this would mean for you and for Sammy in terms of how this would impact you guys?
Yeah, so the last year the team worked out in the morning. Their practices were in the morning at like 6:30.
6:30 a.m.
And a lot of that is because the courts are busy in the afternoon. So it would be really hard to have the team practicing in the afternoon. So, and especially if there were only 6 courts, it would be virtually impossible. I'm not even really sure how they could have matches with only 6 courts, because that would mean nobody else could play for those. It can sometimes be, 3 hours for a match. So nobody would be able to play. There'd be no teaching happening. Peninsula, one of the things I've learned, is a huge teaching center for tennis. Not only do I go to clinics, but our son, who was on the tennis team last year, he takes lessons there as well. So it's a big part of what Peninsula does. So only having 6 courts, something's going to have to go. Either the members can't play, or the teaching can't happen, because you can't really have both like simultaneously right next to each other on the courts.
There just aren't enough courts. I mean, even in the evenings, there are clinics going on and lessons happening on one half, and then the other half it's booked. For the kids, I mean, it's tough enough already that they have to be there at 6:30 in the morning, whereas other schools they just practice in the afternoon, and so they've got to get up, which we all know the negative impact of getting teenagers up, and why they've started the schools late to begin with was to help that, and we're basically reversing that policy by at least having a space for these kids to practice for the team. But it is a challenge. I don't know where they would go, where Point Loma High could go.
Yeah, because the other facilities that's close by is Barnes, but they already have a team that practices and plays their matches there, which is High Tech High. So I don't believe they'd be able to handle 2 high schools. So this really is the only opportunity for the kids at Point Loma High to have a home court, home courts. The other thing too is, in our particular case, our son had probably tried about every sport. In fact, at the beginning of his freshman year, he was on the sailing team. I mean, literally, he's tried every sport. And this is finally a sport that he really enjoys. And I can say, like, we just went and played last night, he and I. And so to find a sport that is something that we can do as a family has been really, really positive. And Sammy's a great student. And I think that, having this athletic outlet has just helped him all around.
It's fantastic. I love hearing that. Do you now, does he have any plans to go to a college that actually has a tennis program too, or what, any say in that at this point early on?
I'm being honest, he probably will not be good enough to do that, but I I know that he feels this is a game he can play his whole life. Like my dad stopped playing when he was 85. And so Sammy knows that this is a game you can really literally play your entire life. So he says he's committed to playing, but as far as like playing for college, I don't know if that would
Well,
happen.
it's tough. It's super tough.
But I will say we have some other friends who had kids that have already graduated that were on the tennis team, boys and girls, at Point Loma High. They went on, there's kids went on to, regular 4-year colleges. They are out playing tennis recreationally and, with intramural stuff. They're not making a team, but it's a sport you can play forever. And you can play into your 80s or your 90s. A lot of times the groundwork is laid at the high school level because tennis can be an expensive sport. If you want to have private lessons, you got to join an expensive club. Peninsula is a very affordable club, and it's local. It's part of our community. It's been here for I don't know, 40, 50 years. It's very well maintained, and it is tough to get a court.
Yeah.
For everybody.
Well, it depends on the time of day.
It can get busy.
It's an interesting thing because you go I'll go to a clinic in the middle of the day and maybe not every court is used, but you can also look at the soccer fields and no one's on the soccer fields. The whole point is to have the facilities when people need them. And so in tennis case, that's afternoons, evenings, weekends, typically, other than people attending, clinics during the day. So, anyway, I feel like they're pretty well used for, when you can take everything into consideration.
Yeah, but it does give those kids exposure to the sport with this tennis team and this tennis program that they're gonna learn a skill for a lifetime. And I've seen it my entire life. I'm seeing it with my friends' kids now, and I'm seeing it with my kid.
It's great. The other this last week I interviewed, I think Norm, he's 82. And he's just, you can see that on the court. You can see both all the ages, really at all phases in your life, phases of our lives, like really being on court. And it's a great place. It's affordable. It's not pretentious. The instructors are really sincere. They're so authentic. And then the friendships, that's pretty much a second family. So it's a really special place. And that's why I really appreciate you guys today coming and speaking on behalf of Point Loma High, as well as the Peninsula Tennis Club. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.